Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are on the planet. Welcome to another episode of Untangled. We are on episode 38. It's really good to be here with you guys. Can you just let me know that the sound is okay? You can hear me so that we can begin. It's really good to be here. I can't even remember last week's. I was trying to remember last week's Untangled, and I can't remember it. I don't remember what we talked about. I don't remember any of it. Great to be here with you. So happy. I just got home from traveling for 2 weeks. I did get a little sick. I'm feeling much better, but my body is still aching. I got some aches. My neck is tight and sore. It's weird. I got sick for about 3 days, and it really impacted, like, the brain stem, which is really, really strange. Hi, Portugal. Hi, Sweden. Hello, Michelle and Nicole, Sky, Sarah. Hi, Florida, Kristen. It's really good to be here with everyone. So we are on episode 38, and I have to cut off about 5 minutes early today because I am doing my 21-day intensive that starts at 10 a.m. California time. And so I want to give myself a couple of minutes to recoup and breathe before I jump into day 7 of Align, the 21-day intensive. If you haven't joined it, I highly recommend joining it. It is the link is down below in the description. Um, and you can also just email us right now at contact@lorieladd.com to get access to the registration. We do have coupons if you can't afford the $59. But anyway, it's 21 days of 30-minute practice every day with me, and just talking about awareness and presence and feeling and, you know, freedom, and how to just sit, how to be without an outcome, without trying to get somewhere, without trying to fix or change, without running from, without even healing, you know. And it's profound. The profound shifts that can happen in such a subtle awareness is mind-boggling. Humans make things much more difficult than they need to be. So, I haven't talked a lot about energies lately and what I feel is happening on the planet. But I want to talk about it today in this video, or in this episode, because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it myself. I'm feeling it in my body. I'm feeling it energetically. I'm feeling it all around, on a human collective level, and I want to talk about it. Um, I think that where do I begin? I think it's extremely important. This is part of why I do this series, Untangled. Is I think the most important and profound thing that we can do as a human is to stop running, is to stop sticking our heads in the sand, and to stop bypassing or numbing out, which is very, very difficult, right? Very difficult. And I would argue that the most difficult part of the evolution that we are in is not so much what we are going to see in the external world, the poisonings that are happening, the wars that are being intentionally started, which they've always had. This isn't anything new. The funny thing about what we're seeing right now, the is that this is nothing new. What we're watching on the news and what we're watching unravel, it's not new. It's not like, oh my God. It's just that it's now being shown to us. They're just showing us now. It's just becoming more clear what we have always been in, what has always been sort of controlling us, or behind the scenes like the Wizard of Oz. And This evolution in human consciousness requires us to begin and to continue to remember how powerful we are as consciousness in the human body. And the way that you start doing that is that you stop allowing and being distracted by the stories in the world. And this is something that is very, very difficult and very challenging for humans that are waking up. Because you want to be aware of what's happening on the planet, the chaos, the corruption, the evil, the manipulation, the mind control, like all of this stuff. Yes, you need to be aware of it. The UFOs that were shot down that probably weren't UFOs, blah, blah, blah. There's all these stories, right? The train that got derailed, multiple trains that are getting derailed all of a sudden, the chemicals that are in the air that are poisoning us. All of these things, it's important to bring awareness. Yeah, like look at what's going on the planet. But none of it is an accident. They want us, they being humans and non-humans that are controlling humanity, want us to be distracted by the stories. They want us to talk about it. They want us to divide. They want us to fight against it. They want us to waste our energy on it. Oh my God, let's talk about the train derails over and over and over again. Let's talk about how badly we're being poisoned. Let's talk about how corrupt this is. Let's talk about how blah, blah. Like that is what they want. I want you to imagine that it is as if there is a leak in your body and energy is being pulled out of the body and you are not as potent and powerful, aligned as you could be because there is all this energy that is being pulled out of you and focused on trying to dissect and argue and yell at and fight against what's happening. That is not to say that we are not here to stand up against the corruption. It is not to say that we are not here to stand up and say, no more. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to step out of these specific systems. I'm going to pull my kids out of school. I'm going to recognize that, there is mass manipulation in the government, whatever it is that we're realizing over and over and over again that's been around for the last 40, 50, 60, 70 years. Okay. Nothing new here to see. It's just now more humans are waking up to it. What we have to start to pay attention to is how even in the awareness of it and in the perpetuation of it, the arguing of it, the getting caught in it, we are still in it. It's true. You can talk about it. There's always going to be something that is going to come into the peripheral that's going to happen, that's going to be destructive, that's going to be full of mind control and manipulation and coercion and greed and evil and whatever it is. It's going to continue to happen over and over and over. It's not stopping. These things are not stopping. In fact, they're going to get worse. So what we are learning is to stop doing it the way we've been doing it, meaning stop putting so much focus and attention, right, on these stories. Pay attention to it. But then where is your focus? Where is your awareness? The focus and awareness needs to be internal. It does. How are you showing up in the midst of all of this? The humans do the same programmed things over and over again. Something new pops up in the news, whether it's a war that breaks out or this happens, and we grab it. And all this energy leaks out of our bodies. We get angry, we get upset, we get explosive, we argue, we fight, whatever it is. Makes sense, but it is a deep, deep, perpetual human conditioned state that is going to literally exhaust us if we don't learn new ways to be in the unraveling of this evolution in human consciousness. We have to start doing it differently. And the way that we start doing it differently is, sure, we keep eyes open. Yep, this is happening. But the more that we perpetuate it and talk about it and dissect it, humans think that that's going to be assisting in waking up humanity. And I would argue it's not. It's doing exactly what those systems and these humans want us to do, be distracted. Distracted by what? Mastering your state of being. That's true power. Anything that pulls you outside of yourself and creates a distraction is allowing the human to be controlled. And we will fight. Humans are going to fight against what I just said. They're going to say, absolutely not. We have to stay awake to what's going on. I'm not saying we don't. We have to fight against what's going on. I'm not saying we don't. We have to continue to share that. I'm saying you have to pay attention to where your energy is going. And you have to realize that you can simply be aware, you can simply speak about whatever's unraveling. But if you are not inside, if you are not safe within your own state of being, if you are not safe within your own body, if you are not feeling everything that needs to be felt, if you are ignoring, denying, and running from what is happening in your inner world, if you are using the external world to deny what's happening in here, if you are fighting against dividing, yelling, arguing, belittling because you don't actually want to see your own trauma and shadow, we've got big problems. The only way through this massive evolutionary shift in human consciousness is not the single path of continuing to keep our eyes open and see what's going on. It's to go so deeply inward that regardless of what is going on in the external world, we start to find such a deep internal peace that we become free. And through that state of beingness, of freedom, of peace, of calm, which is available every moment of every now, no matter what is happening on the planet. So it's quite a journey because you are keeping your eyes open to all of the absolute horrendous events that are occurring on the planet. But you are starting to pay attention to where your energy is going. How often are you talking about these things? How angry does it get you? How pulled out of your body are you? How often are these events taking you down rabbit holes? The master in the human body, which you all are becoming, learns to stand in it, look at it, and say, this is just one of a bazillion things that are going to unravel. I am aware of it. I can feel it. And I'm also simultaneously going to pay acute attention to how I am showing up right here, right now. Is my heart open? Am I kind? Am I allowing? Am I loving? Am I in presence? Am I in flow? Am I in control? Am I perpetuating a divide? Am I afraid of the world? Am I fighting against the world? Am I allowing lack to control me? All of these things, the more that we are continuing to allow the external world to control us, the more we're going to be controlled. The more we stop allowing these stories that are unraveling in the external world to control our states of being, meaning continuing to buy into it, let it create fear, let it create fight, divide. I'm right, you're wrong. It's such a, on the path of evolution, it's a very low state of being to fight against. That is when you are controlled. Humanity can be very easily controlled when there's two sides fighting against each other. This war started because of this. No, it didn't. It started because of this. Yes, it did. It started because of this. No, it didn't. It is such a waste of fucking energy. Know what you know and then go inward. Clean up your own side of the street. See what is actually happening out there. Pay attention to how you're actually being controlled the more you argue against something with somebody else who's arguing against the other side. Pay attention, have awareness to, wow, this is actually a controlled state of being. Pay attention to every moment that you wanna argue your point with someone. I'm not saying that you don't speak your truth. If there's anything that we've learned, it's we are constantly learning how to speak our truth, but from an elevated state of consciousness, a state of consciousness that is from love, like an open heart, a humbleness, a humbleness. If you know your truth, if you know that they are, that they did whatever they did out there with the trains or shot down those supposedly whatever it is, right? The AI that's unraveling. This is going to be going on for a very long time, years. Do you really want to be fighting against other humans with this? We're going to be exhausted, and that is what the systems that are in control want. They want us to be exhausted. They don't want us to be empowered. They don't want us to understand that we have full control over our state of being. We have full control over our state of being. And what that means is that no matter what is unraveling, and no matter how aware you become of it, you are choosing how you are going to be in all of life. And the way that you practice that, essentially breaking free from an imprisoned matrix that keeps you enslaved, is not to continue to watch all these stories unravel and pop out of the rabbit holes and be like, "Oh my god, I went down that rabbit hole and I understand this and I understand that and understand that." That's like that's just stuff that happens. You just start understanding the fucked upness of this world and all the shit that's been going on. Big deal. The true the true awakening is within. The true power is within. This is really difficult for humans to understand. And many people that are out there speaking truth, there is a huge purpose to it. It wakes people up. But it's secondary, in my opinion, to what really needs to happen, which is understanding the power you have to choose your state of being. Am I going to be in fear or am I going to be in love? Am I going to be safe or am I going to be unsafe? Am I going to be empowered or am I going to be the victim? Am I going to be in lack or am I going to be in abundance? Am I going to continue to perpetuate divide by arguing my points or am I going to be humble and open in my truth? The more you realize that you're in control of how you feel and how you be and how you navigate this, the less control they have over you. And we don't even realize how much control we are under right now. It doesn't matter how much you are aware of what's going on in the world. Are you aware of how controlled you are? Are you aware of how programmed you are? Are you aware of how unsafe you may feel in the world? How much anger you have against what's happening? How much fear you have against what may be occurring in the future? If you have fear about what is going to occur in a future, then they've got you. This is about becoming the master on the battlefield. And the only way to become the master on the battlefield, where you're looking at everything and saying, holy shit, maybe you talk about it, maybe you don't, maybe you provide solutions, maybe you don't, maybe you be more kind to people, maybe you don't. But the way through is to understand what's happening in the internal world. Everything that is being, they are controlling us through our minds. They're controlling us through our minds in the most subtle, holy shit ways. And so you have to come back into your own physical body, the awareness of your soul, the awareness of your spirit, the awareness of your consciousness, which cannot be controlled. Your soul cannot be controlled. Your consciousness cannot be controlled. Your light cannot be controlled. It can't. If you are aware of it, if you are connected to it. And how do you do that? You come back into the body, you start feeling everything. You start recognizing where you get pulled out of alignment, or of presence, of peace, of calm, where you are constantly in what creates tons of fear in your life. Pay attention to that. What is creating fear in your life? Just pay attention to that. Just bring awareness to that. The more I think about ... the more fear I have. Okay, awareness is what frees you. Is it about relationships? Is it about money? Is it about food? Is it about where you live? Is it about what's gonna happen on the planet? What is it? And the more that you can be aware of the deep program states you're in. The reason these are deep program states is because there is an aspect of you that believes that this is you. None of it's you. None of what you're experiencing is you. None of it. Everything that's unraveling on the planet is going exactly the way it's supposed to. Everything. It's perfect. There will be more shit coming down the chute that we're gonna see over and over and over again. Are you gonna let it control you? Are you gonna let it create more fear or more anxiety or more stress or more divide? Are you gonna let your own world that's unraveling continue to create more stress or more fear or more anxiety? We have to first pay attention to how we are experiencing our life. And so many of us are being deeply, deeply rattled this year into please seeing what you are ignoring and what you are denying. I don't wanna see that, I'm not gonna look at it internally. I don't wanna see that I'm in an unhealthy relationship, I'm not gonna look at it. I don't wanna see that I'm in massive amounts of lack, and I don't like lack, and I'm not gonna feel the lack, so I'm just gonna pretend that somehow everything's okay. I don't wanna look at the fact that, I'm constantly waking up with anxiety every day and I'm depressed and whatever. It's like, I'm not gonna look at it. I'm just gonna somehow figure out how to just get through and get by. And that's not how it works anymore. It's unfortunate, but it's very, very fortunate because every single one of us is being forced to see how we've been living. And it's very crunchy feeling, very uncomfortable when you actually have to see and feel and acknowledge the truest expression of how you are living life. And the crazy thing about this is that the more that you can do this, the freer you become. And we feel like it would be the opposite. The more that I can control my environment, the more that I can dictate how I feel or what I think or how I be, the more that I can control it, I'll tell you what I'm going to feel. I'll tell myself what I'm going to feel. I'll tell myself how it's going to go. I'm going to be in control. That's the ego. And the ego will always be controlled by the external world. The ego will always be controlled by the humans and the systems that are controlling us. Always, because it's a false sense of self. It's not the true self. And when you start stepping into and experiencing your true essence, the observer, consciousness, the the one that is watching the you that thinks that you are all of this, you realize the illusion you're in. So many of us say, "Oh, I'm in a matrix. I'm in a matrix. I'm breaking free of the matrix." And you still don't want to acknowledge your pain. You still don't want to acknowledge your trauma and your shadows and the triggers and the way you treat people, right? The way people treat you and that you allow people to treat you, the tiny little things that are being shown to you that you don't want to see. I'm telling you, we are being rattled into our shadow and our trauma in ways that we never imagined right now. And we have to have compassion for ourselves because it's extremely intense. And it's less about the external world. It's less about what's happening out there. It's more about what's happening inside. The freedom that we are designed to feel on this planet is an internal freedom first. The more that we are running from what's happening out there, the less free we are. The more that we can stand in what's happening out there and not run, the more free we are. The more you can stand in what is unraveling inside of you, what you're being shown by you to see, to feel, to look at. Just have awareness of it. That's it. The awareness in and of itself shifts it. But the more that you can stand in whatever's arising in your world, who cares? It's just life. We make everything such a huge deal. Like, oh my God. And it is. There are things that people are experiencing that are very traumatic. 100%. Loss and grief and illness and sickness and abuses, and yes. And even in all of that, the freedom within us, within our soul, within our spirit is still there. There is a peace that underlies every human experience. There's a peace that underlies every emotion you feel. There's a peace that underlies every limiting belief. Every thought that controls you, there's a peace, meaning a calmness that underlies every experience. It's the natural state of being, peace, calm, freedom. When you start realizing that nothing outside of you can steal your peace unless you allow it, then you really start to become empowered. And the way that you do that is you start allowing whatever is unraveling to just unravel in order to show you that you are safe and that you are free to be in it. The more that you fight against what you're in, the more you are basically saying to the world and to yourself, I don't trust the world. I don't trust. I don't trust. I am not safe. I am not safe. I am not safe. The more that you allow yourself to be in whatever you're in by experiencing it first before you try to get out of it, the more you will realize how safe you are to feel or be in anything. It doesn't mean that, if you're being physically abused, that that you're safe to be physically abused, okay? Obviously, you get out of the abuse. Obviously, you get out of any situation where you are not physically or mentally safe. But in general, what I'm speaking of is this idea that we have to run away from or run from, fix or change what we don't like in this world because there is an unconscious belief that we're not safe to feel it. And that's not true. The more that you can surrender to every single thing you're experiencing, the more that you will feel free. And the more that we realize that we're free, that we are actually in control of our state of being, meaning that nobody can control my mind unless I let them. Nobody can tell me what to be afraid of unless I let them. Nobody can tell me my truth unless I let them. And if there comes a day where we are, for instance, right now, there's a lot of stuff that's going on energetically that we can't see. A lot of different poisonings that's happening and blah, 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 right? In our water and our food and our air and in 5G and all this stuff. And that's happening. But how can you empower yourself versus disempower yourself? You empower yourself by choosing how you want to go through what you're aware of. Wow, there's all this poisoning on the planet. Okay. I can choose to go through this with anger and fear. I got to be afraid of everything. Or you can have the awareness, which of course essentially will bring you into fear. Holy fuck, what? And then beyond that, holy shit, I'm afraid of all of this. Holy cow, how am I going to be able to survive if this is all true? You drop deeper into, wait a second, my state of mind, my state of mind, my beingness, my state of being, how I'm choosing to be in this is up to me. Do I want to be in fear and always be afraid of everything that is occurring on the planet? Or do I want to be empowered by knowing that it's very possible that whatever I'm in, I'm safe to be in? Whatever is going to unravel is going to unravel. That in absolute presence, as often as I can find myself, I am safe and free. I'm in peace. That regardless of whatever chaos is going on in the world, the more present that I can become in whatever is arising right here, right now, will drop me into peace. It's not a denial of what's going on. What's going on is what's going on. It's just that I am going to master this whole chess game by constantly being in such a state of presence that I can't be controlled. I don't care what happens to me. I don't care what they do. I will constantly be in such a state of presence that I will know, regardless of what continues to unravel, I have peace. And there is a state of freedom within that. And will we be challenged with that over and over and over again? Yeah. That's evolution. Evolution is breaking free from the illusion that you're unsafe, breaking free from the illusion that there is a future to be afraid of, breaking free from the illusion that there is anything to run from. And the way that you do this is by being in absolute presence as often as you can, which is what is right here, right now. Now, what is right here, right now? Now, what is right here, right now? Now, what is it right here, right now? I'm telling you guys, finding that inner freedom and inner peace is more important than any rabbit hole, any conspiracy theory, any UFO stuff, any galactic stuff. All of that is secondary, in my opinion. But it shouldn't be discarded. That's why this evolutionary shift in human consciousness and being on the planet right now is so insane and courageous, because it's a juggling act, like I always say. You have to be aware of what's happening out there. You have to keep your eyes open, of course. You don't put your head in the sand, but it's a deeper awareness of how you are being and standing in it. That's what this is about. And there's definitely a majority of humans right now on the planet that are numbing out. And it's a tad bit discouraging, but there is the natural process of evolution. So there is this natural movement that we're doing. Um, but there is something happening overarching, like kind of energetically all over the entire globe, the planet right now, that is having a profound impact on our consciousness and on our awareness. And it's hard to describe because it's energetic. And it's not it's not easy to talk about because we want to stay uplifted and positive, and we want to stay in this, like, we've got this, and we definitely have this, but I think we also need to be very, very, very humble with what's happening on the planet, and stop pretending that we are so conscious and so aware when so many of us are still in huge egoic trauma-based programs and patterns. And one of the things you're going to see as you start to become more and more kind of aware and conscious is you'll start looking out at the world and realizing truly how deeply scarred humanity is, and how so many humans, even the ones that seem to be um, so aware perhaps of what's occurring, there is deep trauma that's playing out. And don't be surprised if you see this. Don't be surprised, and it's requiring you to not place a judgment on it, but to simply just be aware of it. You will see it more and more and more and more and more. You'll feel it more and more and more and more. You'll start seeing the shadow of the human collective, the trauma of the human collective more and more and more. And it may have an impact on you like it has on me right now, where you kind of feel, um, like, "Fuck, we're fucked," and we're not, but it can feel that way, and, um, so it's really, really important to bring that focus back inward and truly ask yourself the difference that you can make every day, how you can bring more kindness to people on the planet. What are some acts of kindness that you can do? It's not about waking people up, in my opinion. It's about kindness. Humanity's going to wake up. Eventually, humans are going to wake up. They're continuing to wake up out of the illusion and out of the imprisonment. And for me, it's more about what kind of kindness can you show daily? Where can you find more gratitude, um, more compassion, more permission? Um, that's what's going to get us through this, in my opinion. Because when you stay inside your body and you find kindness, that's a power that ignites a frequency that is far bigger than fear, divide, arguing. The energies that the systems that are controlling us, the people are controlling us, want to keep us in. We've been lied to. We're continuing to be lied to. That was all a lie. This and that. And it's like, okay, next. Of course it is. We will continue to be lied to. How are you treating people? What are you focused on? Government's corrupt. This and that. It's like, yeah, okay, welcome to the human journey. What are you going to focus on? The constant obviousness of what's happening, and I need to wake everybody up and let them know this? Or everyone's going to wake up at some point down the road, or they're going to have an opportunity to. Am I being kind? I watch a ton of near-death experiences. When they go out of their body and they're up in that light, which they all call it a light. They don't call it a human, God, they call it a light. Many times they call it light beings. When they're up there, they are not asking, how many people did I wake up down there? What they're asking is, how kind was I? Could I have been more kind? That's the awareness they have. Not, did I prove my point and wake up my friends and family? Now, I understand how challenging that can be and how important it is to speak your truth, how important it is to keep sharing the lies and the manipulations that are happening. I get it. But that shit's naturally going to happen right now, no matter what. The bigger impact we have is kindness, is compassion. The frequency of that is tenfold standing and continuing to perpetuate, the bullshit that we're in. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying frequency wise and what's truly the most impactful thing that we can do. It's kindness and compassion, giving ourselves and others permission. It's weird. I would say 99.9% of people with near death experiences, if you believe in those, which I do, say it's truly about kindness. And if it was truly about awakening, which it is about awakening, but if it was about how much did you awaken humanity, you think that that would be part of the theme that would come through. So, although we are in a massive evolutionary shift in consciousness, which requires us to wake up, it requires us to see beyond the illusion. It requires us to see that pharmaceutical companies are lying to us on purpose. It's important for us to see that our governments are lying to us. It's important to see that there is a mass genocide happening on the planet and that billions of humans are going to die. And that there are humans that are doing this. It's important to see that there is massive, large, huge sex trafficking groups and organizations all over the world. These are all extremely important events, knowingnesses to have. And all of what I just said, and then some, will continue to be shown to humanity physically, just like the spills on the trains, so that humanity has an option to wake up out of the illusion that they're free and not programmed. That's naturally going to happen. Finding kindness is not naturally going to unravel. We have to choose it. We have to choose kindness. We have to choose presence. We have to choose peace and freedom, meaning we have to be in whatever it is that's arising right here, right now, in order for us to realize that we have never been anything other than free, safe, and peace. Even in the midst of all of the absolute horrific stuff that you may be going through right now or have gone through, or you may find yourself in. Being the master on the battlefield doesn't mean that you don't experience crazy shit. It means that it doesn't matter what crazy shit you experience, you are standing in it as the master who is empowered, free, safe, and somehow in peace amidst it all. It's an underlying expression of life that is experienced and found when you stop fighting against what you're in, trying to get out of it, which is truly a state of suffering that most humans are in. Most humans are constantly running from the state of suffering because they don't want to be in what they are in. And if you do that, you will never find true freedom and true peace, which can only be found in presence. And presence will show you what you are in, what you don't want to be in, so that you can be in it and realize that you're safe and free and in peace. But until we stop running from what we don't want to be in, we won't realize that heaven is right here, right now, in the midst of everything else that we're feeling. It's in there at the same time. Depression also holds peace. Anger also holds peace. Anxiety also holds peace. Fear also holds peace. Heartbreak also holds peace. Pain also holds peace. But if you are fighting against pain, anxiety, depression, fear, whatever it is, fighting against it means trying to get out of it. How the hell are you going to realize that peace is there at the same time? You're constantly running. Drop in, allow, surrender to what is. You're always taking action. So you're always sort of in the state of bettering your life in a way, right? Making better choices for yourself. But you do it from the state of being in what you're in first, acknowledging it, allowing it, feeling it, being present with it, I don't need to run from what I'm in. I just need to acknowledge it and be like, wow, look at what I'm in. The more you do that, the more compassion you're going to have for yourself and the rest of humanity. You're going to realize, holy shit, this is no joke being in this human journey. You're going to want to have more kindness for people. You're going to speak to people differently. You're not going to have this hierarchy of, I'm not speaking to a homeless person, but I'll speak to some CEO of some company, right? I'm not going to speak to some barista necessarily, but I'll speak to like somebody that has, 1 million followers on Instagram. We have this fucked up mindset of like, you know, this hierarchy of human experience, and it's all bullshit. Every human is on the same level of every other human, regardless of what their experiences are, what they've chosen, what they haven't chosen, what they look like, how many followers they have, how much money they make. It's all bullshit. It's all an illusion. We are here to treat everybody exactly the same. The homeless person on the street is just as worthy of a conversation with you unless they're going to do something crazy to you as a famous person you see walking down the street that you can't believe you just saw. Oh my God, I just saw this famous person. That's a program. It's all a program. It's a programmed state of being. I don't talk to a homeless person. I definitely talk to a famous person. It's a program. It's bullshit. You talk to all of them. You give them all kindness. There is no separation. The person that is bagging your groceries is worthy of just as much, "Oh my God, thank you," as somebody that would, you know, um, help you do your taxes or something. I don't know, there's just these ways that we categorize humans, treat humans. It's just an absolute utter program. It needs to all be dismantled. We need to treat everybody the same. We need to stop having this hierarchy as if somebody is more worthy than others because of how they look or how much money they have or where they live or what kind of following they have, what kind of job they do. It's a program. And the more that you can be present in what you are experiencing and feeling, the more you allow yourself to burn in your own internal fire, the more you will see that. The more you will open to that awareness. The more you will stop being so separated from life and humans and differences. And the more that we do that, the more we change the world. We don't change the world by fighting against it and arguing against each other. We change the world by going inward so deeply that we burn in our own unique fires, realizing, holy shit, I am not actually going to burn here. Nothing can burn me. Nothing can destroy me. This is the human condition. This is the human experience. We're all going through it, and it unites you with everyone. And then you walk out in the world and you realize that everybody has their own internal fire that they are running from. And the more that you can stand in your own internal fire, realizing that you can't get burned. What this means is that you are feeling everything, that you are allowing everything, that you are observing everything. And you're just in awe of fucking life and the power that it has to control you and take hold of you. And then you walk out and you have that compassion for the rest of humanity. The people that want to argue with you, belittle you, name call you, the ones that are pretending to be a certain way, the ones that are still so focused on making so much money and getting so many followers, and it's all about this, and you have compassion for them. because they are still running. They're still running from their internal fire. So the true evolution is internal, not external. The external evolution is happening no matter what you do. The shadow of the external world is going to continue to burn no matter what you do. It's just the natural process. It's how you play in it, which means how courageous can you be in standing in your own internal fire? Because the more you realize, holy fuck, I'm not going to get burned, bring it on, the more you're capable of standing in that external fire that's burning and that will continue to burn, whether you like it or not, whether you say something or not. And you'll be able to impact that external fire with your kindness and your heart and your openness and this unification that you don't even know how you have, in this peace and this freedom. All right, you guys, I got to get going. Okay, I'm going into day 7 of Align, our 21-day intensive. And basically, what we're doing in that 21 days is exactly what I just talked about. How do you stand in your own fire? How do you just be? How do you observe? How do you bring presence to your every single day? So it's day 7. It's 30 minutes. It's from 10 to 10:30. I usually go a little bit over. If you want to join, I'm going to leave the link right down below in the description box. We do have coupons and scholarships for anyone that can't afford it. Highly, highly recommend it. You have replays to all the days previous and, of course, all the days going forward. Yeah, it's profound. Thank you guys so much for being here for another episode, a little bit more of an intense episode, but I got to be honest, the energies are really, really intense right now, and I think it's important to talk about it. And always take what resonates, leave the rest. None of this needs to be yours or your truth. It's just how I see the world and how I experience the world, and how I view it, the lens I use. I love you. Thank you so much. Reach out if you have any questions. Contact at lorieladd.com. And I'll see you next Tuesday at 9 a.m. California time. Mwah.